They weren't just playing for medals, they were playing for truth. In a world where strength was measured by silence, these 5 athletes dared to speak, love, and live out loud. They didn't just change the scoreboards, they changed what it means to be powerful, beautiful, and free. From Olympic pools to roaring stadiums, each of them faced fear and turned it into legacy. Their stories remind us that real courage isn't about winning the game. It's about becoming yourself in front of the world. Where are you watching from tonight? Subscribe, and let's celebrate the heroes who changed sports forever. Tom Daley, the diver who taught the world to breathe. There's a rare kind of grace that doesn't just belong to movement. It belongs to truth. For Tom Daley, that grace began long before the gold medals, the interviews, or the headlines. It began the moment he stopped hiding. Born in Plymouth, England, Tom was the kind of child who moved like light through water, confident, determined, impossibly focused. By the age of 14, he was already a national sensation, a prodigy whose dives carried both precision and poetry. The world saw perfection, but behind that beauty was a constant weight, the fear of being different in a world that demanded sameness. When Tom came out publicly in 2013, he didn't do it with a press conference or a magazine cover. He did it through a simple YouTube video, his voice trembling, his honesty unfiltered. "I still fancy girls," he said, "but right now I'm dating a guy, and it just feels right." That vulnerability changed everything. It wasn't just the confession that mattered. It was the way he did it, quietly, authentically, without spectacle. Tom reminded the world that strength and softness can live in the same body. In a sport built on control, he found liberation in surrendering to who he really was. His marriage to filmmaker Dustin Lance Black later became one of the most visible and celebrated gay love stories in sports. But what made Tom's story remarkable wasn't the romance, it was the resilience. Every time he climbed that diving platform, he was defying decades of silence in the world of athletics. Tom became a symbol, not of rebellion, but of redefinition. He showed that you could be a husband, a father, and an Olympic champion, all while being proudly, fearlessly yourself. His gold medal in Tokyo 2021 wasn't just a personal victory, it was a cultural one. As he stood at the edge of the platform, wrapped in the Union Jack, tears in his eyes, millions watched, not just the diver, but the journey. The years of scrutiny, the whispers, the doubt, all falling away into the water below. But perhaps the most powerful image of all wasn't in a pool. It was Tom knitting on the sidelines of the Olympics, calm, centered, creating beauty in the middle of chaos. It became a quiet revolution, a picture of masculinity that didn't demand dominance to feel strong. Today, Tom Daley is more than an athlete. He's a blueprint for a generation learning that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it breathes. He turned his pain into purpose, his silence into visibility, and his story into sanctuary for those still afraid to speak. In a world obsessed with perfection, Tom Daley proved that true beauty isn't in how you land. It's in how you rise again and again as your truest self. George Crissa, the romantic shattering hallmark. Stereotypes. George Crissa isn't just a hallmark heartthrob. He's a gentle tidal wave, breaking barriers in 2025 by bringing queer love to the feel-good screen. At 34, this Saskatchewan-born Canadian actor has been a trailblazer since starring in The Holiday Sitter in 2022, Hallmark's first gay-led Christmas movie, alongside Jonathan Bennett. In 2025, George continued his mission with Love in Bloom, a Hallmark rom-com that premiered in March, where he played a florist who falls for a local baker, played by Andrew Walker. The film's tender kiss under a springtime cherry blossom tree became a viral sensation, racking up 5 million views on TikTok, with fans gushing, "George Crissa is breaking Hallmark barriers with love." He's not just slaying, he's planting seeds for a more inclusive Hollywood. Raised in a small Canadian town, George knew early on that his dreams were bigger than the world around him. In a 2022 CBC Arts interview, he shared how seeing queer love stories as a kid would have changed his life, a sentiment that fuels his work. By 2025, George had become a Hallmark staple, following roles like Road Trip Romance with Love and Bloom, which marked another milestone as the network's first gay-led spring romance. The film didn't just charm audiences, it challenged Hallmark's traditional formula, proving that queer love stories can be just as heartwarming and universal. George also joined a Hallmark panel at LA Pride in June 2025, advocating for more diverse casting, saying, "Love stories should reflect all of us." That moment went viral on Instagram, with fans dubbing him Hallmark's queer hero. George's 2025 was a bouquet of barrier-breaking moments. He launched a podcast, Love Out Loud, in August, where he interviewed queer couples about their journeys, hitting 1 million downloads in its first month. The series, inspired by his own relationship with partner Bree Waters, celebrated in a 2023 Instagram post for their 6th anniversary, became a safe space for queer love stories, with fans on X raving, "George Crissa is giving us queer joy we crave." He also partnered with the Trevor Project in October 2025, hosting a virtual baking event inspired by Love and Bloom, raising $40,000 for queer youth. His pastel apron at the event had TikTok buzzing, "George Crissa invented breaking barriers with frosting." In a Hollywood that often clings to tradition, George Crissa is a blooming revolution, showing that queer love can lead Hallmark's feel-good stories. His roles, his advocacy, his radiant warmth, they all break barriers by proving that queer narratives aren't a big deal. They're simply love, as universal as any other. George is shifting the industry by normalizing queer romance in spaces once reserved for straight stories, inspiring a generation to love openly. He's not just slaying, he's crafting a garden where every love can blossom. Type "bloom" if George's journey has you ready to love out loud. Jaren Lewison, the heartthrob. Challenging labels. Jaren Lewison isn't just a rising star. He's a quiet storm, breaking barriers in 2025 with a charm that challenges Hollywood's oldest labels. At 24, this American actor, best known for playing Ben Gross in Never Have I Ever, has long been a fan favorite. But rumors about his sexuality have swirled thanks to his queer-coded vibe. In 2025, Jaren took on a groundbreaking role in Shades of Us, a Netflix drama where he played a questioning teen navigating love in a conservative town. His tender chemistry with his male co-star, played by Brandon Flynn, sent fans into a frenzy, with one X-post going viral. "Jaren Lewison is breaking barriers and my heart." He's not just slaying, he's carving a path for fluid representation. Born in Dallas, Texas, Jaren grew up in a world where fitting in often meant hiding. In a 2025 Teen Vogue interview, he hinted at feeling boxed in by expectations, saying, "I've always wanted to be more than what people assume." Fans have latched onto that, pointing to his Shades of Us role as a sign of deeper truth. His character's coming out scene, set against a sunset, became a TikTok sensation, racking up 7 million views. Jaren also attended a GLAAD event in March 2025, wearing a pastel suit with a rainbow pin that had queer Twitter buzzing, "Jaren is either an ally king or dropping hints." His subtle defiance is breaking barriers by showing that you don't need a label to tell a queer story. Jaren's 2025 was a masterclass in pushing boundaries. He spoke at a Los Angeles Youth Summit in July 2025, advocating for more inclusive storytelling in Hollywood. "We need stories that let everyone see themselves," he said, his voice steady and earnest. That speech went viral on Instagram with 2 million views, and fans flooded the comments with rainbow emojis, speculating about his own story. He also joined a charity photo shoot in September 2025 for the Trevor Project, posing in a sheer shirt that screamed queer-coded fashion, raising $60,000 for queer youth programs. Some critics called his actions performative, But Jaren just laughed on a podcast, "I'm here for love. Call it what you want." In a Hollywood that loves to box its stars, Jaren Lewison is a breath of fresh air, showing that representation can be as fluid as love itself. His roles, his style, his quiet support, they all break barriers by proving that authenticity doesn't need a script. Whether he's straight, gay, or somewhere in between, Jaren is shifting the narrative by giving space for stories that defy norms, inspiring a generation to embrace their truth. He's not just slaying, he's building a world where every heart can be free. Type shade if Jaren's courage has you ready to rewrite your own story. Alex Landi, the enigma redefining queer representation. Alex Landi isn't just a Hollywood star, he's a wildfire of change, breaking barriers in 2025 with a presence that dares to defy norms. At 32, this Korean-Italian actor, best known for his role as Dr. Nico Kim in Grey's Anatomy, has long been a heartthrob, but his queer-coded roles have sparked endless speculation about his own story. In 2025, Alex returned to the spotlight with a bold role in Hearts Unbound, a romantic drama on Hulu, where he played a bisexual artist navigating love and soul. His electric chemistry with his male co-star, played by Woo Do-hwan, lit up screens with one TikTok clip of their rooftop kiss going viral at 10 million views. Fans screamed on X, "Alex Landi is breaking every barrier and my soul." He's not just slaying, he's rewriting Hollywood's script. Born in New York City, Alex grew up straddling two worlds, Korean heritage on one side, Italian on the other, often feeling like he didn't quite fit. In a 2025 Attitude interview, he shared, "I spent years trying to be what others wanted. I'm done with that now." That raw honesty resonated, especially with queer fans who've long seen him as a symbol of representation. His role as doctor. Nico Kim, Grey's Anatomy's first gay male surgeon of Asian descent, was a milestone, and in 2025, he doubled down. Hearts Unbound wasn't just a love story, it was a rebellion against Hollywood's tendency to sideline Asian and queer narratives, showing that these stories can lead and thrive. Alex's 2025 was a whirlwind of barrier-breaking moments. He partnered with GLAAD in April for a campaign promoting Asian LGBTQ+ visibility, hosting a virtual panel that drew 500,000 viewers. "We need to see all of us on screen," he said, his voice a mix of fire and warmth. That advocacy hit home, especially for Asian queer youth who see their dreams in him. He also walked the Met Gala red carpet in May 2025, wearing a sheer kimono-inspired suit that had queer Twitter in a chokehold. Posts raved, "Alex Landi just invented serving looks." Some grumbled, calling his queer-coded roles fan bait, but Alex just smirked in an interview, "I play what feels true. Sorry if that shakes you up." In a Hollywood that often demands conformity, Alex Landi is a shimmering enigma, proving that representation doesn't need permission to shine. His roles, his advocacy, his unapologetic style, they all break barriers by showing that Asian and queer stories aren't just side notes. They're the main event. Whether he's gay, straight, or something else entirely, Alex is shifting the industry by embracing narratives that defy stereotypes, inspiring a generation to love boldly. He's not just slaying, he's setting a stage where every identity can take center spotlight. Type fire if Alex's defiance has you ready to rewrite the rules. Tom Phelan, the Trailblazer. Redefining trans visibility. Tom Phelan isn't just an actor, he's a blazing torch, breaking barriers in 2025 with a courage that lights the way for trans representation in Hollywood. At 29, this trans-masculine American star, born in Pasadena, California, has been a beacon since his role as Cole in The Fosters, where he played a transgender teen navigating foster care. In 2025, Tom returned to the spotlight with a groundbreaking role in Beyond the Horizon, an indie film that premiered at Sundance in January, where he played a trans man running a community center in a small town. His heartfelt performance, especially a scene where his character hosts a queer prom, earned a standing ovation and had fans on X sobbing, "Tom Phelan is breaking barriers in our hearts." He's not just slaying, he's rewriting what trans stories can be. Growing up, Tom faced a world that often refused to see him as he truly was. In a 2015 Hollywood Reporter interview, he shared how playing Cole mirrored his own struggles, but his supportive parents, like his father, Emmy-nominated screenwriter Tony Phelan, gave him the strength to shine. By 2025, Tom had fully embraced his role as a trailblazer. Beyond the Horizon wasn't just a film, it was a statement, challenging Hollywood's tendency to tokenize trans characters by centering a trans man as a leader and lover, not a tragedy. Tom also launched a YouTube series in April 2025, Trans Voices Unbound, where he interviewed trans youth about their dreams, amassing 1 million views in its first month. Fans on TikTok raved, "Tom Phelan is giving us trans joy we need." Tom's 2025 was a whirlwind of barrier-breaking impact. In June, he partnered with Trans Lifeline for a virtual fundraiser, raising $75,000 for trans mental health support, sharing his own journey of finding peace after years of struggle. "Visibility isn't enough. We need safety," he told Out Magazine, his voice a mix of fire and warmth. He also attended LA Pride in July 2025, rocking a trans flag cape that had queer Instagram buzzing, "Tom Phelan invented pride fashion." Some critics dismissed his advocacy as trendy, but Tom clapped back on X, "I'm not a trend, I'm a truth." That post went viral, with 500,000 likes, proving his voice resonates far beyond the screen. In a Hollywood that often sidelines trans stories, Tom Phelan is a radiant force, showing that trans men can lead, love, and thrive on screen. His roles, his advocacy, his unapologetic joy, they all break barriers by proving that trans visibility isn't just about survival, it's about celebration. Tom is shifting the industry by giving space for stories that defy norms, inspiring trans youth to dream bigger than ever before. He's not just slaying, he's building a horizon where every trans star can rise. Type Horizon if Tom's courage has you ready to soar. Conrad Ricamora, the showman shattering queer stereotypes. Conrad Ricamora isn't just a Broadway star, he's a radiant force breaking barriers in 2025 with a legacy that screams queer excellence. At 34, this Filipino-American actor has been a trailblazer since his iconic role as Oliver Hampton in How to Get Away with Murder, where he became a series regular in 2016, shattering stereotypes as an Asian gay man on network TV. In 2025, Conrad continued his reign with his Tony-nominated performance in Oh, Mary on Broadway, playing Mary's husband at the Lyceum Theater. His comedic brilliance alongside Cole Escola earned him an Outer Critics Circle nomination, and fans on X raved, "Conrad Ricamora is breaking every barrier with a wink." He's not just slaying, he's redefining what queer stars can achieve. Born in Santa Maria, California, to a Filipino father and American mother, Conrad grew up navigating cultural intersections. In a 2025 Variety interview, he reflected on his journey, saying, "I was told to hide who I am, my heritage, my sexuality, but I learned that's where my power lies." That power shone in 2025 as he advocated for diverse storytelling. After How to Die Alone was canceled by Hulu in late 2024, Conrad used the experience to push for more queer-led projects, hosting a panel at the Museum of Broadway in March 2025, where he announced the 2025 Outer Critics Circle Awards nominations alongside Cole Escola. "We need stories that don't just survive, they thrive," he declared, his voice a beacon for change. Conrad's 2025 was a whirlwind of impact. He launched a mentorship program with the Human Rights Campaign in June, pairing queer Asian actors with industry veterans, a nod to his own struggles early in his career. The program, dubbed Visibility Forward, supported 50 young artists, earning him praise as a fairy godfather of queer talent on Instagram. He also starred in a limited off-Broadway run of Little Shop of Horrors in September 2025, playing Seymour with a vulnerability that had audiences in tears, breaking the mold of traditional casting. His floral suit at the opening night had fans on TikTok buzzing, "Conrad Ricamora invented serving looks and heart." Some skeptics called his advocacy performative, but Conrad just laughed on a podcast, "I'm here to lift us up. Sorry if that's too loud for you." In a Hollywood that often marginalizes queer and Asian voices, Conrad Ricamora is a symphony of defiance, proving that representation can be both powerful and joyful. His roles, his activism, his unapologetic authenticity, they all break barriers by showing that queer Asian stars can lead, laugh, and love on their own terms, inspiring a generation to embrace their full selves. He's not just slaying, he's building a stage where every voice can sing. Type "shine" if Conrad's brilliance has you ready to break barriers too. These 5 young gay stars turned 2025 into a revolution of courage. From Jaren's label-defying charm to Alex's fiery representation, Tom's trans trailblazing, Conrad's stereotype-shattering shine, and George's hallmark breakthroughs, they've shown us that breaking barriers is the ultimate act of love. In a world that tries to box them in, they're rewriting the rules for all of us to soar. Who's your favorite barrier breaker? Drop their name below. We're cheering with you. If their stories inspired you, hit like, subscribe to Rainbow Spotlight, and let's keep pushing for a brighter future together. See you in the next celebration of queer pioneers.